Welcome. Thank you for being here and sacrificing some of your networking time, your precious Connect time, to be spending some time with me on the roadmap here. So, we all traveled far away. I come from Paris, so the example about Exposition Universelle was very dear to my heart. It's close to home. So today we're going to go through, obviously, everything that we have cooking for you in 2025. We talk a lot about AI, but as you all know, we started off as a help desk solution, and so we have a lot of updates that are happening to our core platform, and we're going to go through that together today. As always, your feedback is really important. For those who might know, or those who don't know, our roadmap is public. You can access it on the website. There's also a place for you to submit feedback. We really, really cherish and value feedback. We process it very regularly, we look at it regularly, and we base product decisions also on that. So please continue to push us, continue to submit your feedback, and we'd love to hear from you whenever we ship things. So we've talked a lot about where e-commerce is going. And what we're building in that space is really a conversational AI for your brands so that you can answer questions on any channel. And as we've seen, move up market. So the race is on, and we want to really help you create a purpose-built, branded, conversational experience for your brand. AI agents are definitely redefining the way people are also accessing information, and where Gorgias is going to set themselves in the ecosystem is really on helping on-site with a conversion and then the re-engagement. So this is just a quick reminder of where we think this is going. Our take on this is like the same way Google didn't replace websites, and you guys spent a lot of time curating the website experience, the product you list, and the way it's shown. We don't think that OpenAI or any other general purpose AI tool is going to replace your brand tone and your voice, and we want to be there to help you create a really purpose-built experience for that. As I said, in terms of our roadmap, we can look at two different buckets. One is really all our improved capabilities to support your needs as fast-growing brands, and then everything related to our AI agent that we look at in different specific user journeys. For the core platform, there are three main buckets of improvements. The first one is everything related to your reporting and your analytics. So we're going to up-level that even more. We've already started that journey, as you've seen some updates in Q1. We're working on AI-powered voice of customer reports. We'll dive into what that means. The second bucket is everything related to making your agents even more productive. So obviously, as AI develops, it's going to automate more, but you still need to care for these really complex tickets or maybe these high LTV customers that want really high quality curated interactions. And for those, you want to connect them with human agents, and you still want to empower these human agents to be very efficient. And then the third bucket is with larger brands come obviously larger complexities. You might cover multiple geographies, you might handle multiple brands in the same Gorgias instance. And so we want to make sure that we simplify all these complex workflows from routing, prioritization, multi-store management, all these things that will help you, seamlessly manage your different brands and complexities. On the AI side, we can look at also three main buckets. So one, as we've talked about this morning, we want to make sure that our AI system not only helps you reduce costs, but can really drive growth for your business. The second one is making sure we can deploy this AI system everywhere. So right now it works on email, chat. The next for us will be SMS. And then throughout the rest of the year, we'll start looking at socials. But we're even looking at where we can move up funnel and potentially help you deploy the AI system directly embedded in the site. And then the third bucket, which is very, very important for us, and Vicar touched a little bit on that when he talked about data compliance and governance and security. We want to make sure that you can truly, truly trust the experience that you deliver with your AI. So part of it is on us to make sure that the quality of the conversation is there so that when you test it, you can really feel how good it is, but also that, inside of the admin, we disclose the decisions the AI is making. We are very transparent about how and where the information is being sourced so that you can go back and update these information so you can influence the response of the AI. So moving into the first bucket of improved capabilities, let's go one level deeper into some specific features. So the first one I mean, after all the talk on AI, it feels like, we're taking a step back to the old world of spreadsheets, but it is still very important. Like today, we have tags in ticket fields. We have a simple tags in ticket field report, but we don't let you cross-reference two different ticket fields. So a very good example might be something like, I might have, a ticket field that tracks which location the ticket is coming from, and then I have another ticket field that's per department because I might have different teams. Maybe my warranty tickets is a different department than my return ticket, than my, cancellation ticket, and I want to be able to track how many ticket I have in one department over one geography. So that's a basic, simple question. And right now in Gorgias, we truly acknowledge that you'd have to export the data to do that on an Excel spreadsheet, and we want you to be able to do that really quickly in our reports. So that's one, basic but really helpful improvement that we're going to be making in Q2. We talked a little bit about voice of customer. So at the essence, what is voice of customer? It's really the ability to connect your revenue data, your revenue trends, with customer verbatims. It's really connecting the information you're seeing at every ticket, every conversation, with a trend in high return rate, or a trend in really large sales volume, or maybe you don't know, but like this one product that in the company everybody likes actually generates a ton of support ticket because there's an issue with the zipper. And you want to be able to connect actual quotes, anecdotes from your customer to these strands. And talking about stories, like we keep going back to that theme of connecting together. Last year, one story that really stuck with me from Dr. Squatch is one thing they would have loved to use is this tool because they kept having one of their specific soap product being returned, and they just couldn't get why. They were like, we're using the same technology, it's the same supplier. It's like, it doesn't make sense why this particular scent gets returned. And they really dug into the data, they dug into their process, and they realized that it was just the location in the warehouse that was in front of a window, and the heat would just eliminate the scent because it would just heat up the soap, which would then get shipped with no scent to the customer. And so by being able to hone it down to a scent issue, they were able to figure out, okay, what are the things that influence scent, heat, and then track it back to the warehouse. So really being able to connect the return reasons to the specific causes and the specific verbatims of your customer will help you unlock some really key efficiencies in your business. So we talked about complexities for growing brands. We are going to beef up a little bit our routing capabilities. So we know that there's a lot that can be done with the rules, but the rules are still very much like an, if, then, there. It's a pretty complex thing to set up, and we truly acknowledge this. It's a very powerful tool, but you still have to kind of really get acquainted with it. And so we want to simplify this more. We're going to add some granular settings on your ticket assignment so you can do per team assignment granular settings. We're going to introduce a concept of prioritization for tickets. So right now, tickets all have the same level of prioritization, but we want to be able to say like, okay, if this customer has high LTV, maybe by default, this is a high priority ticket, and create a specific queue for this. Right now, we do this for like chat tickets, for instance. For those who work in the tool, you can see it's at the top left. It goes above the general views. We want to be able to create a curated experience so it really captures the focus on key priority tickets. And then the third one is continuing to expose this ticket field system that we've built last year in more of the existing capabilities like macros, rules, and views. The next one, which is going to be big for the second half of the year, is introducing what we call skill-based routing. So what skill-based routing is at the essence is matching tickets with the skills of your agents in your teams. So being able to say, these agents really focus on pricing tickets, or these agents are really good for the APAC region because yes, they speak maybe APAC I was confusing with Latin America. So Latin America, yes, they speak Spanish, but they also have a deep understanding of the Latin American market. So instead of having to do that with rules and tags, and you can somewhat do this, we want to be able to do that with AI. So you could just go directly inside of the agent profile, select a couple skills, and then our system will help you match directly incoming tickets with the skills of a team or an agent without having to do any complex setup with the rules. Another big one for larger brands is really the ability to manage multiple stores directly inside of the same Gorgias account. So today, as you know, you have the ability to connect as many Shopify stores as you want, but it's a little bit fragmented. You don't have one, clear view of maybe all the channels you have for a single store, or maybe all the tags that you've set up, maybe all the macros. You can't even filter your tickets through, for a specific store. So we're slowly ramping up that capability. We have brands that have over 20, Shopify accounts connected to Gorgias, and we just want to make sure that we, grow that capability so you can easily navigate from one brand and mutualize your resources, have a single support team that has the, the knowledge of your company operate through these different Shopify accounts. Second to last, we are going to, so we've just made some recent updates that are not maybe visible to all of you, but we've updated our API and our webhooks capabilities, which means like webhooks refer mostly to the outgoing information that Gorgias pushes to external system. We've made it such that we can easily integrate with workforce management system. So in Gorgias, agents have different status. They can be available, they can be offline, they can be ready for their shift, whether they're within business hour. And all this information wasn't easily accessible outside of Gorgias, and it was very much needed to be able to provide real-time tracking from workforce management tools. So now that this data is available, we're working with Assembled to create a native integration so that you can do staffing planning directly in Assemble using Gorgias data. So it will be a one-click install native integration. So the last flagship feature that I'd like to talk about as part of the core capabilities of the platform is everything related to AI translations. So we are going to natively automatically translate the ticket content and the ticket thread to a preferred language that your agents want. And we're going to do the same thing with the outbound message that they're drafting. So they will be able to write a message in English and auto-translate it into the language of the customer. So that will allow you to not necessarily have to staff your team with agents that speak multiple languages to serve the tickets that are incoming in different languages. You can remain in your native language and rely on the power of AI, like we just learned about earlier, to serve all these geographies and all these tickets. So that was for the first section. Oh, actually, I got caught on my own game. So there was actually one last one. The last one I wanted to highlight was the ability to summarize and give context of tickets and customers at a glance. So we have things like our timeline view. You can really look at all the order history. But when you're jumping into a ticket, you might not want to spend 30 minutes scrolling through all the previous orders or the previous tickets. So we're introducing, as we speak, what we call a ticket summary. So that will be at the ticket level, and then we'll move up at the customer level, being able to provide a customer summary so that you can really quickly grasp the history of that customer with your brand. If it's someone that has experienced an issue before, they had a return experience that was really poorly handled, you might want to be very proactive about offering a discount and kind of turning that really poor experience into a loyal customer. So that was for everything related to the core capabilities. I do want to disclose that these features that I'm highlighting here are handpicked because we believe these are some of the most impactful ones, but there are definitely more improvements alongside those that we're going to continue to add to really help with the product. So focusing a little bit more on our AI agent and our AI products, I wanted to talk a little bit about how we think of building products for you when it comes to our AI services. There are two core customer user journeys that we are focusing on, and what we've demoed mostly, where everything that falls in the shopper user journey bucket. So it's the experience on the site, the experience with the chat, the reactivity of our AI system. And some of the things that Mia demoed is everything that comes to the admin experience. So how do you control the AI? How do you feed it with knowledge? How do you have that consistent feedback loop where you can learn from existing conversation and improve it? So we're really looking at this from two separate user experience, and we're optimizing for high quality on both sides. So the first thing that I wanted to highlight, which has just been shipped, we now can scrape your knowledge. We can scrape knowledge directly from your site. So we'll basically extract URLs from your site to get all the content that already exists. And we're also extracting the product data, the product catalog from Shopify. Obviously, everything that we find, you can go back and decide to not feed to the AI. So you can unselect a couple things. Like a typical example is like if you have a privacy policy or some legal disclaimer, but you want your AI to not cover any legal questions, you might want to uncheck these pages. But it really saves you the time from copy pasting content and creating manually specific guidance. So it's not just about uploading a handful of URLs. Everything is done for you, and then you just have to review and make sure that there's no issue with the content being shared with the AI. So we're constantly also making improvements to the overall settings and the overall onboarding experience. So we want to make sure that launching and then managing the AI is as simple as possible. But then after you've kind of launched the AI and it's running free, you want to make sure you measure and you track its performance. We have built-in dashboards, but we wanted to make sure that we could allow you to track the performance of your AI in external systems. So we will make the data available in Google Analytics for your website teams, and we're also going to make the data available in Triple Whale, which is a pretty established BI solution for e-commerce merchants. So we want to make sure you can track the impact of these systems where you guys are already tracking in performance. In Q2, a lot of our effort for the admin is really being even more transparent on how AI makes decisions. I think we've got a really good introduction to LLM this morning with Tiana, but I think to most of us, AI is still very much a black box. We play around with OpenAI, we get a feel for how it behaves, but we don't really know why certain things are being decided or why certain messages are being sent. And so we truly believe that for you to be able to trust the service that we deliver, you want to be able to audit yourself, the decisions that the AI is making, so you can better edit the content and edit the guidance that it uses. So we'll have a specific message and call out in the thread for every AI-generated message, and you'll be able to drill down to what sources it used to answer the question, which part of the guidance it used to make a specific decision, so that you can really go back to the original content and make sure to update the specific clause or the specific section to really meaningfully impact the message. And on top of this, we also acknowledge that you want to be able to test your changes. And so not only are we going to bring that in the context of the ticket, you can make the update live and quickly replay the conversation to see if the changes that you've made actually would fix the problem that you're seeing as you're reviewing the ticket. Another important thing is the way I look at interacting with our AI system right now is we're bringing you the AI inside the chat, and we're encouraging people to move to the chat. I think we should also think about how do we bring the chat experience directly to where customers are, and how can we help you maybe move a little bit up funnel and embed this conversational experience in the site. So we are exploring some radically new website designs, especially for our help center. What if the help center of tomorrow wasn't a static scrollable experience where I read through articles, but what if I could just jump directly into a ChatGPT-like experience that was the curated conversational tool for your brand? This would be a lot more friendlier, it would be a lot more exploratory, immersive, and I wouldn't have to kind of really scroll and no, this isn't what I was looking for, go back and search the right article for myself. So we're really exploring how to drive more access to our AI system, opening more entry points beyond just the traditional channels that we're obviously going to cover over time. Another thing that is very important for those who are already using guidance is we want to make sure that the instructions to the AI are as specific as possible so we can guarantee stickiness to the instructions. And for that, we need to basically bring some of the conditions and the variables directly in the guidance so that when we give it to the AI, we can really parse it in a very specific, strict set of instructions. So instead of just saying, when a shopper has place an order and it's been over 30 days and just trust our system that it'll interpret that and encode this to check the specific order date, we can then guarantee stickiness by using variables. So you'd be able to do when a shopper order at order creation date is over 30 days. And by doing this, we'll then enforce the system to go check the Shopify data that you would want to reference when you're applying that condition. So it'll be even more, bulletproof, and you'll have even better guardrails to make sure that there's strong stickiness to your company policies. And then next, we've talked a lot about this today. This is something we're cooking as of today, but we don't expect to launch until towards the end of the year. But we really want to get to a place where it's not just when shoppers come to you that you have this conversation, but it's also you following up with your shoppers to have this very personal conversation. I think the beauty of Gorgias is that we're so tightly coupled with Shopify and deeply ingrained in the e-commerce industry that we know some of the core use cases that are common to all e-commerce merchants that we all struggle with. Cart abandonment, replenishment, restocking. They are very standard use cases that you all face, and you don't have to set up complex Klaviyo marketing workflows for that. What we want you to focus on is making sure you prompt the AI in a way that's aligned with your business strategy. If you're launching a new product line next week, that's what we want you to focus on, not spending hours tweaking the campaign so you change the messaging. Just prompt the AI that says, next week I'm launching this product line. You can find all the product references and SKUs here. Here are all the product instructions. Here's here's the narrative, here's the messaging, and then you trust the AI to adjust and push that to the different brands. And so with this re-engagement tool, we want to take away some of the pain of creating and updating all these campaigns and really have all of you focus on driving meaningful impact and an AI that aligns with your business strategy. So that was it for me for the product roadmap. I wanted to take the time to open it up to any questions. We have about 20 minutes. So this is also a good time for you to ask me anything. I always love these moments because as a product leader, I find talking to you all a true exercise of accountability. And so please don't hesitate, grill me, shoot me any questions. I'll do my best to answer it. Copilot, so we don't have specifically a Copilot product, but we definitely have a lot of Copilot-like features that help. We do recommend macros automatically. We can also go as far as pre-fill the macros instead of having to search for it. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with some of these recent features. I think right now the main focus on Copilot is the translation aspect, which has come across as the most critical feature. We've constantly, hesitated between, building Copilot capabilities that helps you maybe rewrite, reformat a message. But we found that actually people don't always write the message live. They'll leverage the macro catalog. And so we realized that this might not be the biggest need for customers. So that's why we're putting a lot of effort on other AI-like capabilities like skill-based routing or simplifying some of the core workflows and setup that any brand has to do over these, what people refer to Copilot capabilities, like help me rewrite this message in bullet points or stuff like that. Yeah, there's voice of customer. Yeah, so it's more like assistance with AI for admins over agents specifically, where we're going with.
One question.
Thanks, Kim.
Is there any more talk about ways in which AI agent cannot automatically close, but be pre-read?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So maybe there's a misconception, but we do have a preview feature. So in your AI agent settings, you can set it up in a way that it doesn't directly respond, but it will basically have a message that will like show you what the AI agent would have responded, and you can just accept or edit, the message. So that already exists. Sorry, I had misunderstood your question, but yeah, that's already available.
We can get you with someone next door to show you that if you want. Perfect.
We have a question here, Thomas.
Hi. So a lot of exciting news about AI. I haven't actually used AI with Gorgias just yet, but one of the challenges that we had is when we started using Gorgias, we didn't really have like a lot of pre-approved responses that we would use to questions. So we kind of we were building on the go. Mm-hmm. I was just wondering, right now we have like a lot of macros. If I use AI, or I don't know if you guys will have this feature in the future about not just helping to answer questions, but can it look at all the history of all the answers that we've given and use that to help build the macros, help build the best ticket fields, best contact reasons, best closing reasons, all of that stuff. So apologies if that kind of already exists, or if there are new features that are going to be introduced to build on top of that.
No, that's a very good question, very valid. So for those who don't use AI, I do recommend a test, which is I find it really helpful and impressive because, Chris was mentioning they were all CSMing a brand, so I'm also CSMing at 3 brands, one in LA, one global. And the first thing I did was I just told them let's just take a risk. Let's place a couple of handover topics or strict topics you don't want the AI to cover, but let's just turn it on for 24 hours just to see what it does. So the AI itself already feeds from your macro content. If you have a help center, it'll feed itself off all the help center content. And usually it does a pretty good job at any level 1 basic questions because these are content that's already covered there. I think the beauty of being a all-in-one integrated platform or a help desk solution, we've been in support and e-commerce for 10 years. And so we've built very strong guardrails in the pipeline that if the AI doesn't have the confidence in the answer that it's providing, it'll always hand over to the team. We have a very sensitive handover threshold. So that's for the first part of the question. Yes, to a certain extent, it already leverages a lot of the historical content, whether you've put it in the macros, but also the conversations. I think there was another aspect to your question, which was can we then use that content to also help you create guidance, maybe help you, assist you in maybe rewriting the guidance better or formulating it in a way that seems to comply with your procedures because based on agent behavior. We honestly don't have that today. We have a guidance recommendation feature that will prompt guidance. We have a guidance creation, but to the point where we don't necessarily track all the agent behavior and then say it looks like you're actually canceling after 45 days instead of 30 days. Do you want to change the policy? So what we do is we basically track the broader categories of tickets. We say, it looks like you're getting a lot of return tickets, and we'll tell you we recommend that you create a guidance around return and cancellation. When you do so, we'll pull up a template that's customized a little bit, but it's a first draft to really help you get in the process of writing the guidance. The next step for us is truly to what you say, to a certain extent, auto-generate based on the behavior of agents. So we are looking into that. That's the next step. Today, we recommend with templates based on the categories of tickets, but we don't necessarily just adjust it specifically to your brand.
Hello. Early in the earlier session, when Mr. Lepere he briefly spoke for a minute about shipping, or at least in the product roadmap, some potential kind of marketing back-end work in terms of marketing personalization. And I was hoping to just get a little bit more clarity, not that you have to say anything concrete, but is the hope for that functionality to be pairing with the media buying platforms and providing personalized information? What was that? What was the marketing mention?
On the marketing capabilities or the personalization aspect with the customer profile?
So with the marketing capabilities that go outside of Gorgias's internal platform.
Okay, yeah. So I think we don't think that what we're building goes directly against like the Klaviyo's of the world. I think you'll always need, marketing tools if you're going to launch a one-off campaign because you have this really big event coming up and you're targeting a specific demography like that's not currently part of your shopper base. That's great. Like that's what these tools are for. But I think they are, business as usual, day-to-day things that always happens for brands, like re-engaging after a cart's been abandoned. Like that is pretty bread and butter and probably doesn't require a complex playbook. A couple of tweaks where you guys have a bit of control on like maybe the type of discount you want to provide, how long after, a couple of inputs, and then let the AI really curate the message, potentially in the future even create an asset to help people re-engage. So we're really focusing on these, ongoing use cases that are core to standard e-commerce brands. So does that make sense? I think we're going to start by focusing on the SMS channel. That's the initial plan. And then over time, probably email and obviously more channel like social. The beauty that we have is when you do marketing outreach or marketing automation, the open rate, between 3 to 7%, I'm sure like that probably hopefully resonates. But if you follow up with an email that someone has had a conversation with, the open rate is like 40 to 60%. It's insane. So the follow-up is really powerful. Be able to say like, you shopped at our store 3 months ago, FYI, it looks like you were looking for a blue shirt and we didn't have it in stock, but we just released a new pair of like blue shirts. Check it out. You're gonna have an insane open rate if you follow up using your CX channel. So that's the type of thing we want to create. So.
We have one over here.
Hi. First of all, very exciting things. I already made notes to have my rep tell me when these are ready. But one question that's perhaps related. You mentioned reporting that you could push data into GA and Triple Whale. Can you give some examples and like how that would be helpful, most helpful for like marketing purposes or for CX?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for instance, we're tracking on-site behavior, like if there's an exit intent, or we're tracking conversion rate, or we're tracking buyout rate based on buy rate. So if we push a product and we recommend it to people, we see if people will then eventually put it in the cart and buy it. And if you've built a dashboard to track like these core revenue numbers, you might want to also integrate some of the Gorgias data to then see that side by side. So that's the type of workflow that we want to enable because we've seen different setup. We've seen CX teams being very tightly integrated with marketing where they work really well together. But we've seen the other use cases where are very separate teams and like anything website conversion, it's fully handled by marketing and CX is not as involved. And so being able to merge the two that was the intent between this feature. Go.
Over on this side.
Hi, my question's also around Triple Whale, and it's a two-parter. One, with the AI agent and the capabilities to recommend products or shop, will you guys have the capability to switch between attribution models, like a last click versus total?
So today our attribution model in Gorgias for the broad revenue dashboard is really number of days after there was a conversation that led to a purchase or an order. The idea of the integration with Triple Whale is that we'll make these different key events available in the Triple Whale data set so that you can then, if you want to track, have your own attribution definition, then you can then build that into Triple Whale. Right now, I don't think we've looked at being able to change the attribution model directly in Gorgias. So the idea is to make the data available so that you can then track it according to whatever policies you guys want to track for.
Awesome. And are you guys looking to pass more data from Gorgias over to Triple Whale? Because right now
Yeah.
it's sort of just basic CSAT and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole intent. Is we want to pass out as much as possible all the revenue data, so that because we know you guys do a lot of financial reporting in Triple Whale as well, and so we want to make sure that this information is available in Gorgias.
think we had someone over here. No? Oh.
Hi, I had a question that was kind of going back to there. So when there's an item that's out of stock and you saw the agent pop up, is the customer going to see that via email, or if they go on our website, or only if they chat the agent again?
To see that the object was then put back in stock?
Yeah, like if they were looking for an item and the agent's going to tell them, hey, this is back in stock, do they get that if they go on the website and they get a pop-up, or only if they chat the agent?
So today we don't have that capability, but I think depending on what we hear when we start, scoping for this and running discovery, either it'll be something that you'll have control over. I think generally speaking with chat, the issue is we have a lot of unknown shoppers, and so if we haven't collected contact information, then we won't be able to follow through. And so I think sometimes it really depends how far along in the journey. If people have gone as far as filling, shipping and contact information details in the cart, and then they've left, then we'll have that data, and then we'll be able to follow up either by email or SMS. I think we have a feature that allows us to track unique visitors. So we have an ID that allows us to know when someone is coming back to the site. So we would be able to also offer that chat experience. It's oh, it looks like you were on our site a few days ago. FYI, this has been put back in stock. So I think technically, we would be able to offer all of the above, but we'd have to obviously connect with all of you to see how much granular control you'd want to have over that feature.
Got it. Thank you.
I think Craig with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do have a question. Yeah, I was mostly just I wanted to hear what she had to say. So I've been a HubSpot partner for many years, so I'm more familiar with B2B tools, but my clients have utilized integrations as a way to drive customer acquisition. I wonder what part integrations and developing integrations or beefing up your Zapier capabilities plays in your customer acquisition strategy, and do you have plans to build more integrations? Can you tell us about any ones you're excited about? And I'm sorry if I missed this early in the talk. I snuck in late.
No, totally good. Yeah, integrations are really, really important for us. I mean, yesterday we had a whole day dedicated to our partners, and we have a team dedicated to tech partnerships. So there's an immediate correlation between retention of our customers and the number of integration that they've installed. On average, any Gorgias customer has between 6 to 7 integrations in Gorgias. And we have a number of capabilities that let you also integrate beyond our standard native integrations. And so you were talking about the Zapier-like workflows. We do offer a lot of, so in our technical language, we say webhooks. So basically, you can set up triggers that says, if these actions happen in Gorgias, like a customer passed a new order or a customer sent a new ticket, please push data out of Gorgias to trigger an event or an action in another system. And we also have a dedicated professional services team that helps for larger accounts that have complex setup, maybe because they're an older brand, they're a retailer, if they have a CDP or if they have an ERP, and we don't natively support all the data points that they want, we can build that capability because all the APIs are accessible, all the webhooks are accessible, and we even have also a tech partner portal. So we partner with agencies that build private apps for these customers, and then they can launch it in the App Store, and then they can reuse it for several customers as well. So we have a variety of different ways to help people either use existing integrations, build more integrations for themselves, and just customize the tool altogether using our APIs and webhooks.
So we have time for one more question, because I think we have a minute remaining. Does anyone have one more? Yeah? Here you go.
Hi, question. So I love the new update to the statistics page. We use that quite often, but noticed recently with the revenue, it shows the ticket, the amount, and the agent, but it doesn't show the order number or any other info. Was just curious if you plan to kind of work through that in updating the revenue tracking.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've probably seen that we've kind of went down the list and slowly but surely rebuilt our entire reporting flows and reports. So revenue, I think the reason why we kept it, I wouldn't say last, but one of the last, is because we wanted to kind of ramp up our sales capabilities and also acquire a general learning in terms of what are the key financial indicators that we want to just report in Gorgias. But you make a good point. this is not immediately on the roadmap, but this is definitely top of mind because I'm hearing, and it's going to be even more needed as we launch and deploy that AI sales agent, that people will want to, have a robust way to track revenue in Gorgias. So we're definitely going to make updates to that. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess we're at time. I appreciate. Thank you for giving me some of your time back, and have a good day. Yeah.